Using money to make money seems like an easy concept to understand, but there are many examples where it has not worked out that way. Some of the most expensive failures of all time were conceived with noble intentions and turned out to be epic failures that resulted in the loss of billions of dollars. Watch this video to the end to discover the 10 most expensive failures in history. Some of these more epic failures are breathtaking, simply because they happened, but others can be seen as success stories. Number 10. Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Washington. The original Tacoma Narrows Bridge in Washington state was one of 5 bridges, specifically designed to be as flexible as possible. It was built to help connect Puget Sound to a nearby body of water. Unfortunately, it took less than 4 months for it to collapse. The bridge is quite narrow and is subject to high winds that do not bode well for the bridge at certain times of the day. Construction began in 1939 and was completed for $1 billion a year later. On November 7, 1940, high winds caused it to fall into the Puget Sound only 4 months after its completion. Number 9. The Aon Center. The Aon Center was built as the headquarters of insurance giant Aon, then sold to developer Evans Randall Group in 2004 for $370 million. The Aon Center, formerly known as the Amaco Building, was built in 1974 and is currently one of the tallest structures in Chicago. The structure was originally a marvel of municipal architecture. A simple structure made of rectangular steel tubes. The distinctive feature of the building is its Carrara marble cladding, which was brought from Tuscany and makes it the largest marble-clad skyscraper in the world. However, due to the relative thinness of the material, this beautiful and distinctive piece of the building's facade began to develop multiple cracks, causing parts of the slab to fall off and the lower half to collapse. This led to a facelift of the structure in the 1990s, when the marble was replaced by a more suitable, but much more expensive granite. Number 8. Walkie Talkie turns into Walkie Scorchy. 20 Fenchurch Street is a commercial building in London nicknamed the Walkie Talkie because of its unusual shape. Completed in 2014, at the cost of over £200 million, the skyscraper turned out to be an expensive construction mistake. The building's glass facade and radius made it a giant concave mirror that reflected sunlight onto the street in front of the building for about 2 hours a day. Due to the extreme heat of about 72 degrees Celsius, there were reports of cracked tiles, burnt carpets, melting paint, and even cars. These incidents gave the tower another name, Walkie Scorchy. To reduce glare, a sunshade was installed on the curb side, but this architectural flaw cost about £10 million. Number 7. A satellite lost in space. Most people lose their sunglasses or a set of keys, which is frustrating and of course, can be expensive. If a $125 million Mars orbiter was lost because of such a basic mistake, imagine what other costly mistakes could have been made. In aerospace circles, NASA is known for doing everything possible to ensure its safety and success. However, one of its costly failures can probably be attributed to human error. In 1999, NASA's Mars Climate Orbiter was heading to Mars, when Mission Control realized that there was an error in the coordinates that would take it too close to Mars and risk burning up as it entered our atmosphere. The problem? A subcontractor had forgotten to convert the measurements from English to metric and had even confirmed his work with another team member. The error occurred because Lockheed Martin engineers used English measurements, inches, feet, etc., in their calculations instead of NASA's metric calculations, centimeters, meters, etc. As a result, the navigation information could not be transferred correctly, and the orbiter was lost. Number 6. Sydney Opera. The Sydney Opera House has captured the attention of people around the world. Still, despite what it may seem at first glance, it is one of the world's most failed projects in terms of planning and construction. The building was originally supposed to be completed in 4 years, at a budget of $7 million, but it took 14 years and the cost rose to $14 million. The building was not sufficiently soundproofed. The interior design was poor, so the Opera House eventually became a space where the musicians could not hear their music. Although the design of the Opera House and stage production rooms were not changed, conditions were not optimal, and an additional $300 million was required to repair the acoustics. As a result, it became one of Australia's most famous failed projects, in terms of planning and construction over money spent on what has been dubbed as the White Elephant. The Sydney Opera House is a cultural monument and a venue for contemporary music concerts, dance performances, and film screenings. With such intricate architecture, Such a failure is surprising for something that costs about many million dollars. Number 5. Seongsu Bridge Collapse. The fifth place is occupied by a spectacular bridge collapse in 2009 in South Korea. The Seongsu Bridge was a major highway bridge in Busan that collapsed at a busy intersection after being hit by heavy cargo trucks. 8 cars fell 70 feet to the ground, and 13 others were severely damaged. There were many injuries but miraculously no deaths. The resulting lawsuits cost nearly $250 million, with the victims' families suing both the construction companies and local government agencies. In total, it is believed to be one of the most expensive civil engineering disasters in Korean history. We need to keep in mind the most expensive fails of all time when building or designing anything, so we don't make similar mistakes. Number 4. Lotus Riverside Disaster. Lotus Riverside is a residential complex in Shanghai, consisting of 13 towers. In 2009, one of the towers collapsed, but it did not bring down the neighboring towers, thus avoiding a domino effect. Although most people evacuated before the collapse was life-threatening, one construction worker died. Investigations revealed foundation problems and poor quality construction, leading to accusations that the developers were going against quality to get paid faster. In compensation to the owners and the construction, the developers suffered losses of up to $30 million. Number 3. Bad Apple. While many know Apple's co-founders Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak, most don't know that there was another founding partner. His name is Ronald Wayne. He owned 10% of the company. Wayne was one of the founders of Apple for only 12 days before he chose to sell his share to Jobs and Wozniak for only $800. According to NBC News, given that the company is worth $1 trillion. Today, some estimate that Wayne could be sitting on about $72 billion if he had held onto his shares until 2022. Yes, you heard right. Certainly, enough money to retire comfortably. Of course, you can hardly blame Wayne for selling out when Jobs and Wozniak offered him $400 each for 10% of their new company. Even if they were scolded by their former partner who sold Apple shares in 2004, at a near-record price, they still got rich as bandits with the successful launch of the iPhone. Both men were inducted into the U.S. Number 2. King Tut's beard. These artifacts are worth an unimaginable amount of money and, as such, curators go to great lengths to maintain them in exceptional condition. For example, in 2015, a funerary mask belonging to King Tutankhamun, dating from 1351 BC, was damaged after the Cairo Museum loosened its beard. According to an interview with the Associated Press, a curator admitted that the restoration process did not go as planned. Unfortunately, he used a very irreversible material of the potential repairer. Epoxy sticks very well to metal and stone. Still, unfortunately, it was not ideal for a special object like Tutankhamun's gold mask. Everyone makes mistakes. Number 1. Air travel failure. Air travel is expensive for consumers who want to go on a getaway, but in 2006, when the airline Alitalia was stuck with the bill after a typo on their website made flights from Toronto to Cyprus appear $39 instead of $3,900, it was one of the most expensive typos in the world. 2,000 tickets were sold before Alitalia could correct the price online. Instead of arguing with customers about their mistake, they went out of their way to honor the discount, resulting in over $7 million losses. A most epic travel failure. That's huge, right? Some companies are not worth their weight in gold. In fact, some are downright bad ideas doomed from the moment they were conceived. So be careful with your investments. These companies look great on paper, but they cost investors billions and billions in losses when things went wrong. What were they thinking? How could they spend so much money on a project that was doomed to fail? Thanks for watching, guys. We've reached the end of today's video. So, which of these most expensive fails did you find the most epic? Answer us in the comments section. If you enjoyed this video, I'm sure you'll want another one now. Feel free to check them out. See you in the next video.